Should be live. All right. Hello, everybody. Looks like we're good to go. Just making sure I had a sound check there. And yeah, welcome to the desktop here. It's Tuesday. And this is Steve from Trade Ideas. Normally I come in on Thursday. So you might see Chris on Thursday. But nonetheless, exactly. Welcome to my desktop here. And we can talk about whatever you want. Usually I just kind of start rambling about the market in general and what I'm doing. You can't kill this market no matter what the headlines are. Tariffs, AI, DeepSeek. You've got a NASDAQ that just wants to keep going higher, which is our tech leadership. So, consider all the news headlines we've had. We've had some big gap downs and craziness. Hello, Bill. S&P land, same kind of thing. We just can't get back above this level, but we still keep coming and trying. Look at this flat 5-day moving average here. This is kind of interesting. What I'm pointing out here is the S&P gap down, and we're going to run into just a brick wall of resistance here. So, midday, if you've got some profits to take, just be aware that there might be some additional resistance coming up. Personally, I happened to notice just a few weeks ago that gold was breaking out, and I've been trying to do some of these silver mining stocks, but they just haven't been playing ball. However, finally, it looks like, I don't know, Patrick's here, but Patrick, we had this big day breakout here, 3 days of consolidation, and you're going to get your silver moves overnight usually, but we're getting a really nice intraday move here in silver. You see the moving averages that I use are perfectly holding. Bit of a sell-off here midday in silver, and just the 10 SMA grabbed the bid and kicked it right back into play. So with that said, I've got some crazy silver plays going. One is definitely in the money. I was in since last week. I caught HYMC down here at 210, 212-ish, and I'm not going to let it go. I've got an order to sell actually right up here at the 200-day. I'll take half off there if I can get it. But that was the starter set of my silver mining plays. I'll go through the other ones, and I want to be in ones that are above their moving averages. I can pull up AG here, but AG's until this morning was really a mess down there below its moving averages. FSM looks good. I didn't want to chase that one, but the one I do have is CDE. Nice consolidation above that breakout, and looking forward to maybe a nice end of day move here in these miners. We can look at the GDX. That's the gold and silver miners index. Very similar chart there in the daily. I've also got Pan American, very similar to CDE, and that it has broken out above all its moving averages up here in clean air. That's all I wanted to see was, give me a silver miner that's in clean air. I've got one more silver miner, SSRM. I noticed was very strong on the first breakout, and it's probably a poster child for a cup and handle. For those that wonder what a cup and handle is, that's a very bullish pattern. You've got a nice base building, and then it retreats, pulls back, and builds a higher base camp. And that higher base camp, you can even kind of a base camp within a base camp there. This is the kind of stock I'm not going to sell right now. I think I want to be positioned. It's the kind of thing you could wake up and have a good run. So I'm kind of not trapped, but I'm locked in. I've got risk on the table on 3 silver miners. Again, CDE, Pan Am, Silver Pause, and SSRM. Those are all 3 technically strong, and I felt that strength was coming back to the sector. Additionally, with gold and silver being really strong, I think this could be the beginning of an interesting move. Let me say that. Hello, Midway. Single stock window, what does the smart stop refer to, and do you ever use it? No, it's just kind of a smart stop. Let's look at it. Okay, 16 cents. It's basically saying, and I think I could probably even turn that on to illustrate it graphically. Smart risk levels. Okay, so it's basically telling me 16 cents, right? There's 17 and 16 cents stop. So no matter what I type in here, if I have that indicator on the charts, it's going to tell me based on the current price, kind of a simple algorithmic not AI, an algorithmic equation says, and it looks for pivot points too. So it basically says you don't want to lose this area on the right side. So it does give you a smart target and give you a smart stop. Let's put it that way. Okay, sorry, Annette. So I'm going to go back again here. I'm going to right click in the charts. And under properties, we got a lot of options in properties. The very bottom one says show smart risk. Now, we updated this. It's always assuming you're long, but if you're a short-sighted player, you can invert that little red and green risk bar as a short seller. And I have it turned on now. So no matter what I type in here, let's look at some of my trades, CDE. It's telling me, look, see, it's looking at the bottom of that spike right there. That red line is basically saying this is the program's ideal stop loss if you're a trader who doesn't know where your own stop losses should be or how you might calculate your own. Personally, I'm just going to use this 5-day moving average. So you can see it doesn't work for me, but look at this. There's some validity to it. Boom, resistance. I'm sorry, support, then resistance, then support, and then support. So what it's kind of doing, Midway and Annette, is it's identifying, easily identifying pivot levels for you. And it's saying if the price loses that pivot level, it could be a place to put your stop. So there you go, Midway. I'm going to turn that back off again because I don't use it. Properties, turn off. Okay. But there's the 15-minute view. Great. I'm glad that works, resonates with you guys. So I'm here to talk about what I'm doing. I'm here to talk about what you want to do, what charts you want to look at. I can look at charts and give you my unbiased opinion. All right. We can talk about trading, which is what we're going to do with Midway here. When you have a good entry and the next day the stock, I love this question. I already love it. I know where you're going. And the next day the stock has a nice gap up. What are some factors you use to determine whether or not to swing scalp out versus hold? It's going to, one, depend on the size of the gap. It's going to depend on, is there news? If there's news, I'm more likely to maybe not sell the open because people were more likely to chase the news. So if it's in a downtrend and it's a significant break of a downtrend, we call that a pro gap. And a pro gap is not something you sell quickly on the open. So where I'm going with this is I want to judge, do I want to sell half on the open? Do I want to sell all on the open, or do I want to sell none on the open? Typically, I'll default to sell half on the open because you never can really go wrong selling half. You just won't set yourself up to beat yourself up 2 hours later. Oh, I should have did this, or I should have did that. You kind of cover both bases. So I'll answer by saying you really can never go wrong just selling half. What I might do is maybe put a pre-market order in there and maybe say I can get somebody to grab me pre-market, because the minute you hit market sell on a gap order, you're usually going to see a pretty good rush of sell orders joining with you. So maybe I try to get out a half in the pre-market before the bell. And if I don't, then I just may sell, half at the open, and then I'll wait. And the most important thing to do on a gap up is to wait and see what this 10 SMA is going to do underneath. I don't know if you have an example. You can give me an example, Midway, but a lot of times I'll watch how that 10 SMA comes up to grab the price. But is there a large short? Are there a 35% short? That's another reason to not give away too much at the open. So, just to rehash, what is the news? Has the stock been in a downtrend? Is this catching everybody by surprise? Because if it is, you don't want to sell it on the open. Is there a high short float? Is there a strong sector move as well? If you can't see any of those, then you just can't go wrong selling half, because you won't beat yourself up. And this is a mental game. You want to stay in the best mental mood you possibly can. And selling half, either on an opening gap or even on like a stock that's ripping and makes a breakout, you can sell half on the breakout and let the other half work. It's all about locking in and paying yourself, and not, forcing yourself to fret and toil down the road and see, what happens. You can see a thumbnail there. I got a lot of greens, so I'm happy. But I think there's some more on the vine here. Hello, Mark from Mars. When I use your scanning feature, will you tell me a stock buy or sell point? There's no way to take a stock XYZ, Mark, and plug it in and have it tell us when to buy. But what we were just talking about is, if I go back to properties in my chart here, if we turn on this smart risk level, it'll help you with the stuff you're already in. You see that red dotted line right there? That's going to be our technology assisted stop identification point for you. So you're welcome to put your favorite stock in the chart here, and you can use this smart risk level under properties, show smart risk level. If you're a long-sided trader, you'd use that. If you're a short-sided trader, you use the short side. So that's the best way for input output, which is what you're asking me. When I use your scanning, will you tell me a stock buy or sell point? Otherwise, we have what's called the AI trading assistant. And what I've got it set to is any profitable. I can uncheck that, just so you know. There's losers in here as well. But if you just filter out the ones that are profitable, these are things that came out this morning. And if I click on them directly, you can see the blue line. One of the reasons I like this entry that I see here is this is exactly what I was just talking about with Midway, right? You've got an opening gap that gets sold. But what am I watching for? I'm watching for this 10 SMA, and it did exactly what we want. Held, and pushed higher. Now, coincidentally, we've got the AI blue line that actually waited for this IVVD to come down, and it will trigger. And let me show you something here, Mark. It's very important if you want to follow this. If you're a premium member, you want to right click and have your actions on, and you want to place sound setups so you hear them when they come through. Or you can also have it show alert window. This means the alert window pops up. So it grabs your attention and says, hey, IVVD, nobody knew about this one, but the AI saw something based on back testing and coming into today that this gap fill might be a good AI entry point. So 2 different ways to look at and 2 different ways to answer your question. This is going to give us random stocks. Otherwise, there's another entry signal on the pullback. I like that. And again, to get to this, you would just go a couple of different ways. You can go new docked channel bar, and the docked channel bar will give you a workspace, and you can go into the AI trades on a channel and get a bit more graphical ideas. So that's a nice compartmentalized way to use the AI without affecting your original laptop layout. Okay, that's coming, Mark. You're probably seeing a lot of marketing that's getting ahead of our product department, but I would say late March, we're going to be having something that is more automated if you have the right broker, which is E-Trade, Interactive Brokers, or Alpaca. That's coming. So right now, everything is still manual, Mark. Okay, announced official partnership. Oh, EGLD. Let's take a look. I didn't miss your question. EGLD. Announced official okay, so that's not a stock. With Binance Pay and X Money is a MasterCard master member and holds strategic US and European licenses. Are we sure about that symbol? EGLT, LD? No, it's like eGold, EGLD. You can get back to me on that one if you want. All right, if I may ask, Hollies at day trades are often not profitable as it enters high price longs on a runaway. Well, the last two I saw it didn't. So that's why we're in a manual situation right now. Automated, it just wasn't working the way we wanted. So those last two that I looked at, they didn't chase. They used kind of a pullback entry. So it's now a discretionary tool for the traders to manually decide what they want to use for somebody who doesn't want to do programming or scanning. That's basically the gist of it. I would say use these symbols that are coming through as ideas of interest, but I would prefer to buy them on those pullbacks. Like I'm going to go back to LVVD, which was a Holly trade. Was that correct? I didn't do that correctly. IVVD. So you can see if Holly called it out up here after a day and a half of run, no way would I chase that. However, big day yesterday, and Holly waited for the pullback. And so this, to me, as a discretionary trader, would be a much safer entry. So that's why we're kind of leaving it up to the traders now. Yes, the automated product should be coming in the next little while. Shoot, I'm in this one. It's kind of breaking for me. I'm going to turn that back off. I don't like those. But yes, I'm using a 15-minute chart. You can see here this blue line is now finally flattening out. It's 15, correct? This blue line is a really special one. It is a 5-day moving average, but I'm not using it on my daily chart. It's just too many lines on the daily chart. So what I've done is I've plugged in a 130 SMA. And when you do that, it divides perfectly into 5 trading days, and you get a bunch of smooth lines. What's Andy talking about? Okay. Sandy's pointing out the see, this is what I just kind of mentioned earlier. I was just talking about that 5-day moving average in the SPY. It was extremely flat. And after a gap down opening coming up to this 5-day moving average, I said we were going to have a major brick wall of overhead resistance. And I think that's kind of what's happening here. I'll tell Andy. So it's kind of just a technical pullback, it looks like. I can share Annette. I can share this scan. Actually, I can share the chart with you using the cloud, and you can have the exact same settings I do. My 15-minute chart. Okay, and it's a 10 SMA on the 15-minute, and it's that 130. See, if I go to indicators, Annette, you can see SMA 130 blue line. That's 130 period 15-minute candles, makes a perfect 5-day moving average. And you can see it's much easier to evaluate that 5-day SMA using the 15-minute prism or lens, if you will. Still okay. Whatever this pullback is in the market, it's not really affecting my silver stocks. Let me check in on the GDX. That's looking okay. CDE's hanging in there. I'm probably going to have to take these things home another night is what I'm thinking. And that's where the magic happens in the silver stocks overnight. SSRM, HYMC. I didn't talk about Kodak. I'm in Kodak, and some people might laugh when they hear that because they just think of old film and cameras. But okay, I'll show you how to do that. I'll save the Kodak scan for a second. So I'm clicking on the link right now. And what does that do? It brings you to this page, right? So this right here is the code to open up what I gave you. So highlight it and copy that. And then you can close that window. And from there, Annette, you go to your toolbar, File, Load from Cloud, and it's all set to go. And just click Load. And there is a copy using that scan of what I sent to you. So important is once you've got that up and loaded, make sure that you lock that in by saving, not to the cloud, but save your layout. just right here on the default. And if you do that, you'll always have this 15-minute point of view. And I try to keep it really simple. Just two moving averages, this 5-day, and which way is it sloping? And when we go back to the SPY, we see it's a brick wall of resistance. It's flat. But when we come into Kodak, it's been turning and starting to slope upwards. That's a good sign. Plug on the daily was a horrible downtrend, but as I was showing you earlier, the 5-day moving average is now flattening, and I'm probably going to have to sit with this a little bit here. It's not exactly what I want to see, but I did buy this, and I'm in the money because I bought it early down here as it broke through the 5-day. So that's what I'm using. So back to Kodak. Why am I liking Kodak? Well, as you heard, the new administration wants to reward domestic manufacturing. I can't think of a better company for domestic manufacturing and chemical production for simple things like chlorine, generic meds, all the things that we were kind of scared about during COVID when we realized that China was producing most of our antibiotics and things. So Kodak has a strong balance sheet. They've basically run through their retirees, and they've got a very strong retirement pension fund that they've reinvested in themselves. And this stock is one headline away from a big move, I believe. And that headline would be Kodak signs a deal to manufacture blank, 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 and blank domestically. That's what I'm expecting. So it's one thing to have a theory and a story, but does the chart and the price action confirm the story? And I would say, yeah, it does. We've got a nice rising 50-day, held that twice. We've had a nice protracted sideways consolidation period, and we are 1 or 2 days maybe away from breaking out of that. So maybe a headline would do that. Would I buy Kodak in a downtrend? No, I'm waiting for it to break out with the story. I can go back to plug. Speaking of downtrends, why did I buy this? Well, I've been trying to buy it as an oversold bounce, but the more I think about it, it's right. It's electrical appliance. I think it's competing with those nano nukes is what I'm getting at. It's hard to compete with the Oklos and the NNE when you can just bring in nuclear power instead of messing around with hydrogen, green energy. So that's probably why plug has had a rough time. Okay, so now we can move on. Midway, if I flip my slam into the 130, so I was looking for stocks down. Yes, that would. Okay, new high into the one. Yes, that would be. You've been listening. That would be my favorite ideal entry. So let's find one of those, and I think I've already got one. If I just type in the keyword 130. Slam into the 130, flipped. This one might be it. Let's see. No, it's the opposite. So let's go back. It's slam into the 130. And we just want that one as it is. There it is. There it is. Okay, so we're looking for stocks that have moved up into. What's going on here? There's a lot of configuration. Let's take the S&P change out. And there we go. Okay. I had a major filter in there. So when I start clicking through these, what I expect to see is stocks running up and kissing the underneath of this blue line like we were talking about in the SPY. Oh, look at that. Beauty. Not only that, I mean, okay, so this is a really good short trader training scan. I'm going to call it a training scan because it's forcing you like a golf aid, swing aid, to not chase new lows. It's saying, hey, show me stocks that have been struggling. All right, this one's been struggling down on the daily, but it had a nice big relief bounce. But the sellers will show up at a declining 5-day moving average. So why not use this and the power of trade ideas to tell us in real time this might be a good short candidate? So we can come over here and go to, like the brokerage plus probably. And if we're saying, God, maybe I want to test this thing out, HP, I want to sell at the market. We'll do 1,000 shares to simulation, and so, okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm pulling up a sequence. Here's a concept built by me, which is a training device to not get people to short new lows down here. Everybody who shorted down here is in severe pain, and they likely coughed their shares up and covered right here, the sweet spot where we want to initiate a new short sell. So for the newer uninitiated, let's show why this might work a little bit. These are stocks that are down. In the last 5 days, they've been down 3% minimum, maybe more. But they're bouncing today with a new high into, there it is, the change from the 130 period, negative 0.1, positive 0.1. So we have a 0.2 envelope, which will give us alerts right there every time. So great question by Midway. Let's move on. Let's look at how. Same kind of a chart. You would initiate a short right there at the underneath of the moving average. BXP. So let's go ahead and put this back on real time, and I'm going to share it, obviously, with Midway and whoever else wants it. Okay. That is slam into the 130, just like you ordered up. Okay, let's turn that off. I saw a question. Do you have a pre-built scanner for pre-market and for intraday as well? Well, the intraday would be one like I just showed you, the one I just dropped. And you can use that upside down. We can flip that. Let me do that real quick. So I grab the code. You open the one for short selling. Load. There we go. So here's the scan I just kind of worked on. But when we go to configure, we can flip this and make it a new low and make it coming down into. So these would be stocks that have been moving up as of late, as you can see on the daily, but they're pulling back into a nice pocket of the 5-day moving average. There's that blue arrow showing that perfect wick right there. So I'm going to share this one as well, and that kind of takes care of 2 intraday scans, Kamal, and then I'll show you the pre-market. So everybody that was just watching, this is the exact inverse of the short sell scan I was just popping in there. We'll call this slam down and buy the 130. Same scan, we're just inverting it 2 different ways. Now for pre-market, the easiest thing to do is probably just go to what we've already got made. So if you go to new and docked channel bar, docked gives you the workspace, and the channel bar gives you the pre-made stuff. Yep, that's what we're going to do right here. Here's the pre-configured stuff. New docked channel bar. And you can see explosive winners. These are going to be midday regular market, but we've got, it should be near the top, but it isn't. So follow me on this. Very important. Right here, there's a button that says show more. In my opinion, it should be up top, but click show more, and there's pre-market. I can do one more for you. I can actually save this as a cloud, and I can just give it to you. And anybody else that's lurking, you can open that, what you see on my screen. So this is going to give you things that are gapping up pre-market. And what I would do is I would, just kind of watch them, and you can always set a price alert in your other scans. So like, if there's something you see gapping up that you like, but you want to buy on a pullback, it's up to you to, go into your charts and right click and set price alerts. So when it happens in the real-time market, you're notified. Perfect. Good. Okay. Brokerage plus. No, Holly does not pick stocks from this. Holly picks stocks out of the entire stock universe. So there's no symbol list that the AI works from. And there's no symbol list we give it. Okay, Joel, you're having issues with Brokerage Plus. You're testing some strategies. When you close trade ideas and reopen, the trades have disappeared. Not sure when this data is collected and stored. Let's try something. We'll do it together on my end too. So I've got this HP that we shorted earlier, and I am connected. Okay. Let's. Are you sure that you're not missing this step right here, and you're reconnecting? Could that possibly be it? Because if I go ahead and I just close trade ideas, it's when I close the whole program. Okay, so I've got Brokerage Plus open. We've got an open position, and it's plus 35 bucks. I'm going to keep that open. I'm just going to close the program. Double click and reopen the program. And let's see what's going on with that position. Okay, the position is there and it is connected. Now, recently closed. Okay, I was just going to say, make sure that this menu type right here, this one could be throwing you off. If it's all blank, you're going to see everything open, close, long, or short. So I can only select open. I can only select close. So what I'm thinking is maybe you have a default set to one of these, and when you relaunch the program, it loads it back to the default. I've got it set to all types. If you don't have that set to all types, maybe try that. So that's my suggestion, Joel, and I love your idea of doing a screen recording. If my suggestions are not helping, of double check the all type menu here, or also double check the all three of these menus. It could be that your default setting when you reload back up might switch you to a different drop down. That's going to be my suggestion for help. If that is not going to work, then please do what you suggested, which is take a video and show us those items. And I'll send you the email. And Chris is the local expert. He kind of knows all the ins and outs and bugs and workarounds of Brokerage Plus. So if what I said doesn't help, take a screenshot recording. Perfect. Take a screenshot recording. If not, and send it to that email address, and we can try to work through it. But once you have it where you want it, I would do this. There's no difference between some people think that, hey, if I set this as my default, you're saving the changes. That's incorrect. Once you have these where you want and you're all set, what you want to do is save the layout, because Brokerage Plus is a component of the entire layout. I keep mine minimized. All right. I think we're caught up. So if anybody was sitting on a question, wondering when to ask, you can do it now. The AG and pause. See, my little ticker down here, I kind of keep an eye on. Honestly, this is one of my main tools. It's nothing but a high-low ticker. And if I start seeing Oklo and NNE and SMR move through, the nano nukes are moving. So even though it's just a simple high-low ticker, it kind of tells me what sector is perfect in the moment. Okay, Ryan needs help with go, no-go charts. Let's work through that. First off, obviously, you've paid for okay, perfect. I have subscribed and they work in the channel. Okay. I'm going to join you. I'm going to go to a docked channel bar. We go to go, no go. Let's try something. He's asking, can they work outside Now I have to click a symbol to get it to color. Great. So let's say I like this chart, and notice, when I zoom out, it brings in more data. I could go to a 15-minute if I wanted to and use go, no go in the 15-minute. I can take off pre-market and I can take off post-market. Now I have a chart that I want. Let's see if we can pop this chart out. I think that's the answer, Ryan. Or at least duplicate into free floating window. Okay, but do we get we've got trade wave there. It appears that the go no go is going to have to be in a container, and that container is kind of the paywall. I think that's the reason for it, for the add-on. But what you can do is you could add another chart if you wanted to. You could say duplicate here. So now you've got a third chart, and then you can just turn that back to, say, right-click and go back to maybe daily on this one. So you've got these tabs. You've got a 15. You've got the daily. And you could also do this. You can remember you can grab that tab and you can say, I want to see it like this, both of them. And you could have both charts like that. So it appears that they won't work outside the channel. They need to be inside of the container window, which is the go, no go on, and that won't work unless you've got that add-on subscription. All right, Joel, is there a Trade Ideas community board where we can share scans and strategies? We used to have a forum, but they fixed that glitch. It used to be, but it circumvents the paywall. Yeah. So I'm assuming I'm correct, Pepe. We used to be able to do it, but it can't do it anymore. There used to be a forum, but it's not really active. Now we do have Barry's trading room. So of course, you can share scans with people in Barry's live room, which he's on break right now, which is why we do this midday. We try to get people to come over from his room and hear a different voice. Thank you, Pepe, as usual. And how you get there is directly on the how to use the go no go channel. Let's go back to that. Great question. So I'm going to go back to the doc channel bar, go back to the go no go charts, turn them on. And it's all about the color. So, we've got the trade wave. Let me turn the trade wave on, which is a different type of go no go. We have the B, and then there's the S, and then boom, here's a B. We're working on this buy ticket here, buy tag, and it's all systems go. So that's trade wave. And that is included in our latest beta. It's actually production now. Anybody can use the trade wave. The go no go is a bit more esoteric. We have to click on the symbol inside, and you see these colors change. This is based on the formula used by the CMT, Chartered Market Technicians. I'll turn that. And they're kind of using more of not a buy or sell like trade wave, but we're waiting for the colors to change. Dark purple is bad. That's weak. Pink says, hey, it might be trying to come out of its doldrums. Oh, it went back into dark purple. That's bad. Kind of shifting back and forth from a weak position. Then it goes orange. It tried something but couldn't do it. So you can see that the sequence is dark purple, pink, orange. Okay, and then it goes to light green. Light green is our buy. So instead of putting a B tag right here, you wait for the first closing candle that turns green, and you ride it through green and blue, green and blue. As soon as you get back to orange, that's kind of the caution. Like the first orange candle that shows back up here on this clove, that would be your signal to get out. That's how this channel works. So as you're clicking through, again, these are scans that are in here. But I do believe you can type in what you want. So I could type in my CDE and I'm in a go position. I've been in a go position here for the last 4 days. That's literally what I've been doing. I've been sitting in this thing for 4 days. How did it know? Okay, so we got happy colors. That's all it is. It's a rainbow of colors versus the buy and sell tags of the trade wave. Two different logics, but the same concept. People want to kind of be nudged as to when it's a safe go and when it's time to bail. I didn't mean to put an anchor on there, so take that off. But it's good to see I'm in that. Let's turn off trade wave. There we go. All right. I've got way too much of this crazy one. This is a lottery ticket, silver stock. I don't really consider that a silver miner until it proves itself. But the other three that I'm in, CDE looking good, pause looking pretty good, and then SSRM looking good. As long as these things stay strong and close strong, I'm going to take them home overnight and hope for a big, crazy overnight futures blast in the gold and silver market. Yep. Hello, Hutch. So one more time, you got to make sure that you've got your browser interface turned on. You've got to make sure that you have at least this version, 0.104. And if so, you go to this FX icon right here, and that will open it up for you. Down here, you have a summary of basically what's in view. If you're trying to go long, it shows you the percents of the last buy and sell tags closed. You can turn around and go short if you wanted. As you zoom out, you start to get more data, more buy and sell tags. And with more buy and sell tags, you can see more in the trade wave report. Not yet, Raghu. We're working on the trade wave right here. This one. We're working on creating scans that will alert when we get a buy tag. Right now, it's just an overlay in the chart. Well, let's see. Time of entry. You're right. It just has the entry date, so it's kind of like up to us to look back and see. You'd have to do a step further and crosshair it and look at the time of day on the crosshairs. How did I zoom? Okay, I held down the control key and I used the mouse wheel. Holding the control key will do that. If I let go of the control key, then we go back and we just backtrack. We don't want that. At any time, if you get lost, this little dot, right, this little arrow right there will bring you back to default. I'm going to turn off TradeWave. Tips for Mac. It is unfortunate that we don't have a Mac application. It was a decision that was made a long time ago by the staff, but my suggestion would be to take advantage of the tools as best as possible. If you could look into a virtual desktop that can run Windows apps like Microsoft 360, Amazon Web Services, or maybe Parallels, because if not, then you're limited to our web application, and it lacks a few things. It doesn't have price alerts. It doesn't have TradeWave. It doesn't have a lot of the things that you would want. So I would look into a virtual Windows desktop if you can. Again, I think Amazon Web Services has a pretty simple solution. That's how Michael Noss ran his Windows app. And that's how a lot of the developers here that prefer Mac have to use it. It is unfortunate, Mo. I'm sorry, but that would be my best solution. Yes, you can view Barry's room as a free member. If we go to Great Ideas, And it's at the bottom. It's super easy. Bottom. Trading room. There it is. And from this page, you can enter the trading room. You'll see other good traders in there, such as Pepe and Barry as well. How does Holly select long-term trades based on what? So the long-term trades are basically trades that were at one point an intraday day trade. So this IVVD could just continue to trend higher, or AUDC could continue to trend higher. Excuse me. And if it does, then you can see back here, this one, TEM, for instance, was a day trade back here. And so it continues to trend higher. So the concept is we're giving you a curated list of something. See that? Remember I was talking about a pro gap earlier, guys, when somebody was asking about, when to not sell an opening gap. Well, when you've been in a downtrend like this, and then just a neck snapping trend reversal of news catches everybody by surprise, those can often continue to move higher. So all we're doing is we're keeping these names on the radar for you because they're continuing to move higher since the initial call. And the concept being the initial call might have been a significant move in the opposite direction. So, if the charts don't continue to do anything, they won't show up on that long-term menu. All right, I am caught up. Let me quickly cycle through a few of my trades here. I like to look and see my price holding the 10 SMAs on the 15-minute chart. That's always a happy sign for me. Zoom in a little bit more, and HYMC is kind of a mess. Hopefully that blue line will cause buyers to kick into gear. Still good there. Another silver miner holding up. Rumble, I did buy some Rumble. Oh, let's see, that broke down midday, so not a good one. Plug also broke down midday. SSRM. Okay, money machine. Yeah, the money machine in theory is taking profits when the top three, if you select three max, one of those loses luster and then something else pops into the mix. So the idea is it's being replaced by something stronger and cut the one that's not working as well. So it's not that it hits a stop or it reaches a certain high. It wants to stay in those stocks and ride them as long as possible. So there's been a lot of testing that's going on right now, which is going to give the user a lot of control over how many stocks you're in, how frequently. And I will tell you guys this, the trade wave is actually kind of becoming a major component of the money machine, meaning a trade wave B trigger will maybe initiate the trade, and then a trade wave S tag would close the trade. So that is, why it's taking longer. There's more cool innovation coming, but it's got to be tested and developed. Yeah, you're correct. It's in theory, it's going to close the trade when it's no longer in the top three. Now, maybe, as I said, you have setting control. Maybe you want to set that to 5 maximum and only risk 5,000 per trade. So you never have more than 25,000 at risk. Or you can make it 6. That's going to be up to you, which is going to be nice because I know that's what people are going to want. You can tell it, hey, if I get stopped out more than twice on the same stock, I want it to reverse and go short. Well, that's getting pretty tricky, but for the people that want that, it'll be available. But I'm looking forward to getting my hands on the new iteration where I can test the buy and the sell tags of the trade wave and how it's working as a component of this money machine concept that mad scientists Dan and Brad are conjuring up. All right, I got another 5 minutes with you guys before I got to go to a developers meeting and learn more about what we're doing around here. Kodak's looking better. Again, I'm expecting a headline from Kodak. I'm not telling anybody to buy it. I just feel like this is going to be a perfect fit for domestic manufacturing. If we all remember what it was like during COVID when we didn't have chlorine or antibiotics or penicillin. We know Trump wants to reward companies who manufacture in this country. We don't want to be over importing essential items anymore. And I think Kodak might be a perfect candidate to receive some sort of good news. So I'm pretty sure I caught up. If I missed anybody's question, let me know now. Well, that'll be the idea, Kamal. We don't want to go too quickly, too fast. The next round of the Money Machine will go to 500 people. So we're going to start with, the 100 people for live testing after we test internally live, of course. And then as it seems safe, it will probably release it to something like that. Exactly. We don't have, okay, so there's only one way to monitor the buy and sell tags, and it's in this component here. We're trying to build that better, Raghu, but for now, you have to go to what's called this Market Explorer window. This is a very complex strategy menu, and all you got to do is right click, and it all opens up right there. If you go to the bottom, you'll notice we have 3 trade waves: daily, weekly, and 5-minute. So let's go to the daily, excuse me. We're going to go to the daily. Now, nothing is going to ring a bell and nudge you to buy, but anything on here is going to have opened the day with a buy tag. Let's go to my daily chart. There's the buy tag. So I'll do it one more time for you. You can open this window and you can monitor these things. Or if you want, you can do a 5-minute buy and sell. Let's go to 5-minute. We can turn this to 5-minute real quickly, and we can turn trade wave on. So if you're a day trader, you can get ideas coming through here as well. Now, before I go, I'll show you one more time how I got there. It's under Market Explorer, New E, Market Explorer. Once you've opened the can, right click, strategy, and look for trade wave. Now, these will give you ideas that they're not going to be audible. They're not going to pop up in your face until you do it now, but you're going to have a list of ideas that are good looking ideas that you can choose from. All right. Hopefully that helps. I think that Kodak is helping. No. All right, guys. There should be a shortcut for trade wave. Well, there probably should be. It'll probably be improved in the future, but you have to turn on the browser interface and use the icons up here. This is the shortcut to another menu. All right, guys, I'm going to have to sign off here, losing my voice as well. So Dan, the CEO, is taking over on Wednesdays. So if you're here tomorrow, you can have that direct access to the CEO, Dan, and you can ask him all the money machine questions that you want. All right. So I'll see you guys later. Thanks for your questions and keeping it active. See you next time.